Thanks, Pat, for agreeing to meet us on behalf of the branch. This is our first formal video for the branch that we're doing, so I'm hoping it works out well for us. We've decided that we're going to interview more of our members and take a closer look at some of the work that they do, not just within the branch, but outside of the branch as well, as a voluntary member. So I'm talking to Pat, our Equalities Officer, who's here as a delegate, and she's also been speaking. She was speaking yesterday, is that right, Pat?
Yes.
But also she's been doing a lot of work, particularly on the WASPI campaign. So how did the motion go yesterday? And if you want to tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, hello and welcome, and thank you. It's a pleasure to be able to do this for you. WASPI, well, this is something that's been going for a few years now. It's Women Against State Pension Inequality. It isn't about changing the date of retirement, and it is about equality in a different way. It's just the speed that they actually brought the legislation in, where women were paid to finish at 60, and men at that time were 65. But they only gave a short notice in that change, and then there was a second change to bring it forward. The principle really is with this that we've taken it to the Ombudsman and we're now fighting this, and it's been passed that we can have a judicial review. But there is something to this further than that. It's about how they're tampering with your pensions. This is a bit of a groundbreaker that we need to be conscious of, and if we win this, then it helps set things for the future for the younger people coming through too.
Yeah. And I mean, the branch is fully aware. You always give, excellent and comprehensive reports about the work and the campaigning that you're doing with WASPI. And of course, we've supported that in many other ways, not least of all with sort of making a contribution.
Oh, we'll add to that, Alan. I know they were extremely appreciative of that, so thank you.
Yeah, and we're always there. We want to support it. We're 100% behind you and the campaign itself. And it's nice to see that the National Executive and hearing our General Secretary speaking as much as they have been with regard to WASPI, we've got to make sure we keep the momentum on that.
And they referred to that again at the General Secretary's speech earlier this week.
And then I suppose, thinking about the retired members, which I know for both of us as retired members, we have been concerned about the status within the union of retired members, and you spoke on that yesterday, so you must be pleased with the outcome of that.
I was extremely pleased with the outcome. I think it's caused a little bit of peak, shall we say, in some areas, in the sense that I know that the view has been taken that this is a reunion for working people, and this isn't about taking that away. This is about, we have a wealth of knowledge with our retired people, and it's how we can use that to the best development, for the best ends for everybody, rather than reinvent the wheel. And sadly, the same mistakes happen again, which might mean people get hurt. I think it's also important that what does retirement actually look like in this modern world? And I think going forward, we're going to have other battles to fight, which are about how they keep changing the state retirement age, and will there even be a state pension? This goes back to a bit of the WASPI stuff as well. This is about future for our younger people coming through and learning from the lessons that we've got, and we're trying to fight for them. The motion, I was seconding the motion, and I'm very pleased to say that apart from the fact they were asked to withdraw it, the region stood firm. We have the motion passed, and it will now be up to the powers that be that decide when they can enact it. But the point being, we should be getting a seat on the Central Executive Council, 2 seats actually.
And I think that's real progress, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of retired members will see that as, very definitive progress. It's now really a question of, how the union at national level, from the leadership down, and how they want to progress that. How do you see that sort of panning out?
Well, it had to go down to the CEC to actually determine how it can then be determined by the regions who they can actually elect and send forward. The key point is there are 2 seats. One of them is actually protected for a woman. So they will have to come to some agreement on that arrangement. There is, like all things, there will be a price to pay, but I'm hearing rumblings that we may be, if we wish to be active and be included in the union, is pay a 25p a month sum to remain part of this trade union in an active form, rather than in the past it's just been a retired fee, and we can have some voice. This way it gives us a voice on an equal footing with all the other sections, such as equalities, such as LGBT and race and discrimination. So we have made progress.
Excellent. I suppose the other question that we're always asking, particularly of you, Pat, when we're at having branch meetings and beyond the branch meetings themselves, is that what about the sort of more general sort of aspects of the work of qualities? You know, what are the key issues that you think are going to be discussed this week
Well, this
that
week
are impacted for our branch?
Well, very much so. We're still. I mean, some of the fringe meetings are talking about pay and these schemes that they have about how they rate your pay grading and what have you. There's a big movement here for equalities in pay, and we've just heard Rachel Reeves speak on saying that she is determined that the work of Barbara Castle will be continued because women are still not getting the same pay, which has a knock-on with pensions and all their life, you know, flowing through the life and what they're going to be able to do with things as they go forward. Sadly, as it stands today, women still tend to live a bit longer than men, so being in poverty is for a lot longer than it would be for men. Is that right? Of course it isn't.
Yeah. And of course, you know, we're always thankful for the work that you do, Pat. I mean, you know, it's very appreciated. We always welcome and look forward to the reports that we get each month when you come to the branch. I suppose the last thing is that we know that you do other work beyond the branch. You're a magistrate, and I just wanted to, well, first of all, you know, what does that entail? And you know, where do you find the time, quite frankly?
Well, what do they say? You want something doing, ask somebody that's busy. I took this commitment on a few years ago. It's when there was a big push with the magistracy to have more diversity and equality. And I was actually nominated by the trade union to actually go and do it. So I took it on knowing it would be a long-term commitment for me anyway, on principle, because I didn't want them to say, well, we've opened it up to diversity and look what's happened, nobody's turned up, can't be bothered and all the rest of it. So there's quite a strong drive there for me to honour that commitment, and I have been. I tend to specialise in adult court, although I have done youth. The youth I have stepped back from a little, but I'm still doing adult. What's it involved? Technically, you are supposed to be doing 26 sittings a year, which that breaks down to 13 days. But you will have to train. There is quite a commitment for training, and there is also an expectation that you will have to do this training. But some of it now is being done on Zoom and all remotely, so life's a bit easier. It's the occasional now is still face to face.
Right. Well, listen, Pat, you've always got our support, and we thank you for all the work that you do. As I say, I don't know quite where you find all the time to do all of this, but you know, we really appreciate it, and you know, keep going. Thank you.